Question: how do you know you're witnessing one of the greatest seasons of all time? Over the years, we have seen many tremendous athletes put together some unforgettable years. There was Karsten Warholm in 2021 as he went undefeated and set a world record in the 400-meter hurdles. There was Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce in 2022 as she went under 10.70 7 separate times en route to a world championship in Eugene, Oregon. Other athletes that have clearly brought out some of the greatest seasons ever include Faith Kipyegon in 2023, there was Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone in 2024, and then, in this present year of 2025, we saw Mondo Duplantis go crazy as he broke the world record 4 times, and he pretty much set the record books on fire. Some of the characteristics that every one of these previous champions have in common is winning the biggest meet of the season. Whether it be the World Championships, the Diamond League Final, or the Olympic Games, every athlete that we have previously discussed took the biggest titles of that season. Another ingredient to having an all-time season is going undefeated in your primary event, an act that requires nothing short of perfection and ultra-high consistency when competing against the best in the world. Another important part of a legendary season is maintaining elite performances throughout the year, a true hallmark of an all-time athlete. But perhaps the most important aspect of achieving such a season is breaking new ground and new records. Whether it be times or even some kind of athletic expectation, this is also an important part of reaching such a historic level. Achieving such all-time performances requires next to no error for an entire calendar year. But what happens when you combine every one of these characteristics into one season for one athlete? Well, that's when you reach a level of excellence that we rarely see in track and field. And in 2025, one athlete achieved such a feat, and it will almost certainly go down in history as one of the greatest seasons of all time. Let me take you back to 1988. For this season, there were many athletes breaking new ground in track and field. However, in the United States National Championships in Indianapolis, Indiana, Florence Griffith Joyner did this.
Field. It's the gap, really, that leads me to give it some credibility to the fact that the world record was broken by almost 0.3 of a second.
With a time of 10.49 seconds, FloJo shocked the world as this world record took down the previous mark by more than 0.2 of a second. This was an absolute revolution of a performance, and to this day, this time still stands as the all-time record. However, when looking at FloJo's full season, we can see some very interesting characteristics. For this entire 1988 Olympic season, FloJo ran under 10.80 seconds 7 times, and in total, she averaged a time of 10.75. However, in 2025, one athlete actually outdid this kind of running, and this athlete was Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, because in 2025, Jefferson-Wooden ran under 10.80 seconds 8 total times, and when compared to FloJo, she ran more of these performances with legal wins behind her, as in 1988, FloJo achieved many times with illegal tailwinds. Even without such gusting tailwinds, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden managed to achieve one of the most unbelievable years in the 100 meters. And the remarkable part about Melissa Jefferson's running is that she also went completely undefeated, and for the entire year, she averaged 10.79 seconds. This marks one of the very few times in history where a female athlete averaged under 10.8 in the 100 for an entire season, as the only athletes to ever do this were FloJo in 1988, Melissa Jefferson in 2025, and also Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce in 2022. However, for Fraser-Pryce's 2022 season, she actually did not go undefeated, as she lost one race in the Brussels Diamond League meeting after her World Championship, as Shericka Jackson achieved a time of 10.73 to take down Shelly-Ann. This means that Melissa Jefferson-Wooden is the only female sprinter ever to go undefeated while running 8 sub-10.8s in a single season. Jefferson-Wooden's 2025 season was a historic combination of consistency, high performances, clutch running, and a record-breaking final performance. as her 10.61 from the world champs is now the new championship record, as that took down the previous mark of Sha'Carri Richardson from 2023. Also, for this World Championship final, Melissa Jefferson split through 60 meters in approximately 6.87 seconds, which actually places her in the top 3 fastest opening 60s of all time. And the crazy part is, she wasn't even considered a super impressive starter, but for this final, she brought out the smoke unlike anything that we have ever seen from her in the past. Now, Jefferson-Wooden's 100-meter campaign was already unbelievable, and this puts her right next to FloJo and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. But you might have noticed something about Jefferson-Wooden's 2025, and that's that she also won the 200 meters in the World Championship final, achieving a time of 21.68 seconds. In the entire history of women's sprinting, this World Championship double makes her the fastest combined athlete in history, as this 21.68 now places her as one of the fastest 200 athletes of all time, in addition to her new placement as the 4th fastest 100 athlete in history. To go undefeated like this, while running so fast, while competing against such incredible athletes, while challenging the likes of FloJo and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, is honestly something that I did not think was possible going into 2025. But in terms of looking at Jefferson-Wooden's entire year as a whole and seeing how she compares against other athletes, one of the best ways to see just how dominant she was to look at her overall ranking. In terms of 100 and 200 meter athletes, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden is in a completely different universe. She is one of only 2 sprinters, male or female, to get above 1,500 points, as Noah Lyles was the only other runner to get above 1,500. Now, to break 1,500 points, you will likely need to be one of the greatest athletes in the world. In fact, here's the full list of athletes that have gone over 1,500 for their overall ranking this year. And as you can see, they have done some pretty amazing things this season. But for Jefferson-Wooden, she's ranked so much higher than any other sprinter that it genuinely makes her one of the most dominant names in track and field right now. And only adding to her amazing collection of accolades this season is the fact that the US women won the 4x100 gold as well, and Jefferson-Wooden ran an incredible leg during this relay. To win the 100 and the 200 is already quite rare, but to win the 1, 2, and the 4x1 makes Jefferson-Wooden one of the very few athletes to ever achieve this triple. And given that she is still only 24 years old, we could be seeing some amazing performances over the next few seasons, and if she continues on this exponential graph of improvements, I think we could be set to see some all-time performances in both the 100 and the 200. But the 100 clearly appears to be Jefferson-Wooden's specialty, as she makes running under 10.8 look like a walk in the park. Now, lastly, there is a conversation currently going on about Jefferson-Wooden's abilities to challenge FloJo's world record. And while I'm not going to get into the specifics of that 10.49 and all of the controversy surrounding it, Wooden's time of 10.61 right now is still more than 1/10 of a second away. So first, we should focus on her breaking 10.6, and then as she runs faster and faster, perhaps there could be the possibility of challenging that 10.49. But for now, Jefferson-Wooden's 2025 season was genuinely one of the greatest sprinting campaigns that we have ever seen. Combined with undefeated running, combined with a new world championship record, combined with one of the fastest starts and closes in women's 100 history, Jefferson-Wooden is just that athlete right now. And moving into the future years, I would love to hear your thoughts on what you think that she is truly capable of. Thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time.